Good evening, and may the force be with you. Good evening, and may tonight we're doing part two of my three-part Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy release part two release weekend stream. I know I had said in the previous stream when we built Jedi Bob Starfighter and the Force Burner Snowspeeder that we would be doing the second part on Thursday and then the Dark Falcon tonight. But some things came up and I had to rearrange my schedule. So tonight we'll be doing the X-Wing and TIE Fighter mashup, and then tomorrow we will finish with the Dark Falcon. Let's go over to the camera. So you can see this set is a big one. Not as big as the Falcon, but we'll be here for a few hours tonight. We have the two most classic and well-known Star Wars starfighters here, the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter. You can see at the bottom here, we have 5 figures in the set. So yeah, audio's working. That's good to know. So you can see there's 2 Rebuild the Galaxy characters, and then a Rebel pilot with his astromech, and an Imperial TIE Fighter pilot. The astromech, it looks like, according to this, his name is L3GO, or Lego, and he's in the Lego colors. Some fans call this the McDonald's droid because of his colors. And there's a retired set from the Ahsoka series, from the same wave as the shuttle we did last week. And that set has another droid that some fans call the IKEA droid because it's similar to this one, except instead of being red and yellow, it's blue and yellow. I'm probably going to pick up that set off of the aftermarket because it's retired and you can't get it from Lego anymore. So, but this set actually just retired at Lego. It sold out at Lego Online about 2 to 3 weeks ago. It's on the retirement list for this year, so you won't be able to get it now unless you get it from somewhere else. There have been dozens of X-Wings and TIE Fighters since Lego Star Wars started about 26 years ago. What makes this X-Wing and TIE Fighter different is that, well, let's take a look at the back of the box and I'll show you. As you can see, this is the Rebuild the Galaxy version of X-Wings and TIE Fighters, which means you can actually take the wings off and swap them. So you can do your TIE Fighter cockpit with the X-Wings, and you can do your X-Wing cockpit with the TIE Fighter wings. And these crazy mixed up starfighters, there's actually precedent for that. In the pre-Disney Legends continuity, there are cases of certain groups in the galaxy finding crashed or broken down starfighters and taking up parts and recycling them into new mixed up ships. So there's actually precedent for something like this in Legends. I'm not sure. I don't think they've ever done anything like this in canon before, but it's cool that Rebuild the Galaxy took one of those more interesting Legends concepts and brought it to a modern audience. When these two starfighters rotate into my display, I will display them as the mashed up forms. Since this is actually technically my second X-Wing, but I think it's my first full-sized X-Wing. I have a small Junior's X-Wing that I built as part of my Galaxy's Edge review. It was a Resistance X-Wing with a Poe Dameron as its pilot and BB-8. And that was actually the first Lego Star Wars set in my current collection. And you can see that build if you go to my Galaxy's Edge review, where I show off all my Galaxy's Edge related merchandise at the end of it. I also show off my lightsaber and my droid in that video. But yeah, we have to build both the ships in order to do the mashup versions. So I think I want to build the X-Wing first and then the TIE Fighter. So we'll see how the instruction books are. I think the X-Wing will... The X-Wing's just a teeny bit more classic in my view. So that's what I want to show when we go into the halftime break is the X-Wing. So we'll do the X-Wing first and then the TIE Fighter. It looks like from the instructions I pulled up in the PDFs here, the X-Wing is going to be 120 pages of instructions and the TIE Fighter is only going to be about 50 pages of instructions. I'm not sure. We may be able to... You know what? We're going to go bag order. If the TIE Fighter comes first, we'll just do the TIE Fighter first. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into this then. Yeah. And the only play feature shown on the back of the box is in fact the fact you can swap the wings. It looks like from this picture the TIE Fighter might have flick fire missiles. It looks like the X-Wing, I can't really tell, but it looks like the X-Wing has stud shooters on it. And because the X-Wing's weapons are on the wings, it means that when we do the mashup wings, it looks like the X-Wing with the TIE wings is not going to have any weapons, and then all the weapons are going to be on the... Well, we'll see how the weapons are distributed when we do the mashup. Let's just... One more look at the front of the box, and let's get into this. And we'll do, again, we'll do the Dark Falcon tomorrow. That's gonna be that's probably gonna be an all-day stream. That's a big set. I'm gonna start early afternoon, I think. I don't want to go to bed too late because I've got loaded plans Monday and Tuesday. So I probably won't, because of the delays and the stream, I'm probably not going to be watching Rebuild the Galaxy for myself until Wednesday, most likely. There's a lot of stuff in here. I'm trying to do this without anything falling on the floor. Okay, the box is open. Let's make sense of this. There are 2 instruction books. This book 1, which is going to be the TIE Fighter, and this one called Book 2, which is going to be the X-Wing. And according to this PDF, the TIE Fighter instruction book is kind of small, probably because the wings are probably going to be done as a 2X, which means we'll be building the wings simultaneously. In terms of piece count, they're actually probably comparable. So, let's see. Let me just see here. Book 2 starts with bag 5, it looks like. So what I'm going to do here... is I'm going to make 2 piles of bags. We do have a sticker sheet. So we'll hold on to that. So if the X-Wing starts with bag 5, 8, 4, 7, 6, 5, and we'll set these aside. Alright, so the TIE Fighter is going to be bags 1 through 4. 4, 3, 2, and we'll leave bag 1 on the table. Same deal as usual. We will line up the figures in the front to watch the ships be built. I probably won't put figures in the cockpit during stream, as I usually don't. Okay, we got everything out. We have the sticker sheet ready to go. And you can see bag 1 has a separator in it, so we don't need to pull the spare. So let's pull up our instructions and get started. It's cool to have my first X-Wing and my first TIE Fighter coming into the collection. I have a few things on my radar. Chances are there will be a few more X-Wings going into my collection next year, and a few more TIEs and TIE variants. Probably gonna get the TIE bomber that's out. Let's see. There's lots of TIE fighter variants that have been released over the years, and there's gonna be a kind of a small scale TIE fighter that's gonna go with the new $1,000 Death Star they're releasing in a couple weeks. But that TIE fighter they're doing is a GWP, so not everyone who gets the Death Star is gonna get to have it. But it's as small as you can make a TIE fighter and still fit a guy pilot inside. All right, let's let's pull up the instructions and begin. I've talked too much already, so here's oof. It's one of these, and it's the TIE fighter has vertical instructions. Let me see if I can't adjust my instructions a little bit. First, I'm going to want to make it a little bit bigger because it is the vertical layout. Now, if I can get my mouse to click on the instructions, so I can line that up. And then there's a big gray blob I can't do anything with, but I can't make the instructions. I can't make the instructions any bigger without making that gray blob even more disruptive, and I can't make the instructions any smaller or you won't be able to see it. I'm not a fan of when they do vertical instructions like this, and I'm sure it's necessary for the model, but let's go ahead and get started. So here's the little ad showcasing the 25th anniversary of LEGO Star Wars. Again, this was a 2024 set, so that's why we see the 25th anniversary of LEGO Star Wars ad here. This set's, like I said, is actually retired now, officially. The Dark Falcon, I think, is still on store shelves. Yeah, I saw it even in the small local LEGO store the other day. Dark Falcon, I think they're going to keep out for a little while, because they have the mini scale Falcon and they have the UCS Giant Falcon, but I think the Dark Falcon is currently the only play scale Falcon on the shelves right now. So the instructions, here it shows us the separator and to open bag 1 and build our TIE pilot. So, same deal as before, as I usually do. We'll talk a little bit about each character as I build them. The TIE pilot is one of the classic Imperial soldiers. This will be the first TIE pilot in my LEGO collection. However, I have a feeling that this is going to be the first of many. So let's find his parts and put them together. So let's see. I think it's a female pilot. There's no spare hair piece, so I'll show you the face. I'll show you the face print before I put the helmet on. But there's the blaster. So here's her face. In the last couple of years, they've been putting unique faces. They've been putting unique face prints on the trooper figures, except the clone troopers. They all still have the same face, but it's an updated face from what it was before. But stormtroopers and helmeted officers and all that, helmeted soldiers, they all have different faces now. So that's our TIE pilot's face. And of course, the Rebel pilot's face is more important because that one's actually exposed under the helmet. That's just a helmet that goes over the top of the head. So let me go ahead and get the blaster into the hand. So this is the TIE pilot, fully armed up with helmet and blaster. And because it's an all black figure, my camera's even having more trouble focusing than usual. There's not, this might be an issue tomorrow with the Dark Falcon. I didn't think about black, but this is the only character in the minifigures tonight that I anticipate that issue with. So we will. Oh wow. The helmet actually exposes a good chunk of skin on the back of the head. That's interesting. The old helmets covered the whole head. Let's go ahead and start the build. So this is the first TIE fighter, like I said, in my Lego collection. I do have an X-Wing, a Junior's version of an X-Wing, so it's nothing too special. And sometimes I even forget about it when I do a list of the ships in my Star Wars fleet. That's how kind of not too impressive that set is. But it's small, so it means I have an X-Wing I can put up if I have if I don't have enough display space for a full-scale play vehicle. Wow. I've had to make the instructions so small that I can barely read them. I'll do the best I can, but for the TIE fighter I might be slowed down on account of small instructions. So I think the plan is, I know in previous streams, I think the break plan is to try and power through each ship and then do the breaks, do one break between the two ships. If I need midway breaks on the ships, then we'll address that if I need it, but I think I'm going to try and power through for more efficiency. The very original vintage TIE fighters from the first couple years, they all had, what was it? Their designs all prominently featured the color blue for highlights, even though the actual ships in as they appeared in Star Wars did not have any blue. I think it was a design choice for sure. But finally, after the first few years, they started doing accurately colored ties. So which I thought was pretty cool. Those original blue, those original TIE fighters with the blue highlights looked a little silly to me, but I'm not going to rule out the possibility of. There is a certain vintage charm to those two. Well, I didn't mean to say two, because there was more than two TIE fighters done in that style. But I do like the more accurate color scheme, even if it is all gray. Okay, what's going on here? This is the piece we want. I need to really concentrate and focus on this because the instructions right now, because of the awkward layout, are so small I can barely see them, so I need to concentrate. The X-Wing instructions are in the more standard horizontal layout, so that I should be able to read much better. So yeah, we have to build the whole TIE fighter and the whole X-Wing before we can actually see the whole rebuild the galaxy mashup experience. So unlike the other rebuild the galaxy crazy mixed up Star Wars stuff, this one's not going to be crazy and mixed up until the end, until the last couple minutes of stream. But I think that's a payoff worth building towards, no pun intended. I think we're going to have fun with that once we're finally able to actually see the mashups at the end of stream. And I know that when I display these, since I'll have other X-Wings and other TIE fighters, I'm going to want to display these in the mashup configuration. So right now we're building up the cockpit structure. Maybe it wasn't missiles that I was looking at on the box. Maybe it was just these indications of the TIE fighter's lasers on the bottom front here. What's that doing? All right, let's go here. Lots of these trans red bits. Okay, I see we're starting to fill in some of the shaping as well. And we're already about a quarter of the way through this first instruction book. I'm not even sure what to estimate for the time frame. There's too many unknowns with this, given that there's two builds. So I'm not even going to try to make a prediction yet. It's good to keep metrics, though. I know tomorrow's stream is probably going to be 6 to 8 hours. Okay, that one goes there. So I'm guessing bag one is going to be the inner core. Well, it is the inner core of the cockpit. And I guess bag two is detailing for the cockpit. And then bag three and four is the wings, maybe. Let's see. That's my prediction. We're doing a lot of bracketing towards the back here. We got some clips. This must be for the canopy piece. So this piece is going to have a sticker going on it. It doesn't look like the sticker connects up with anything else, but yeah, actually the sticker detail does connect up with other stuff. So I'm going to wait to put that sticker on. Interesting way to do the shaping there. I do appreciate that technique with the slopes on the bracket and then the bracket on the side studs there. This is definitely a lot more advanced of a build with more detailed shaping than those older TIE fighters I was talking about a little while ago. I do like this. Okay, now we got to start bracketing. Looks like we have some more brackets going on here. And 2 times on a sticker. I need to get in close to see the detail here. Okay. I think I see how I'm supposed to do this. The color matching of the gray background of the sticker isn't all that great, but it's not noticeable in most light. But the gray is definitely noticeable in this light. The different grays between the sticker background and the gray plastic. Color matching between stickers and plastic, it's hit or miss with Lego. Most of the time it's not noticeable in most light, but sometimes it is kind of noticeable. Oh, I forgot a piece there. I gotta do one more of those. And this time I'm not gonna forget the piece. Okay, so it looks like this is going to be much of the detail for the okay, what piece is that? I really can't see with how small these instructions are. Okay, just a standard tile. Okay. I can handle this. So the tile is in a offset angling like that. And then we fill in the circle bits here, the quarter rounds. We fill in the quarter rounds to make this whole chunk. That's going to be the back of this section of the TIE Fighter. And I'll go on all these brackets back here. Cool, all right. And now we have our first little assembly. Here's our little cockpit so far. It's already got some weight to it, and we're only one bag in out of 4. So yeah, these starfighters actually have substance. They're not just gimmicky, smaller versions that they made for the gimmick. These actually have some substance going on, which I appreciate. We're almost done with bag 1. Okay, which stickers are we looking at now? 6 and 3. And these will be visible together, so these I need to put on together. And actually, these line up with the other sticker. So I'm going to wait till we put this whole chunk on, and then I'll line up all the stickers together. That's interesting. They're actually enclosing the window. So even though the window's printed on a trans piece, it looks like it's just going to be simulated here. Probably to cover up build parts. I'm not sure why they did it like that, but yeah. The window's just simulated here for some reason. That's one small little disappointment on this design that I wasn't expecting, but still gonna look cool. So yeah, you can see this is what it actually looks like, the TIE Fighter window. There's black plates behind that. You can't see inside. And this all goes onto here. This will attach to the brackets if I can get everything to line up. That there, like that. And then this will attach onto these clips like here. And there's a little TIE Fighter cockpit. And before I go into bag 2, I'm just gonna do those 3 stickers. Now that I see how everything is supposed to line up over here. Alright. Sticker time. So it looks like there's a gap between the stickers. Between one round of the stickers and the other, where the opening is. So bag 2, we're going to get our second of 5 characters in this set. So the main cockpit body is pretty much together at this point. Based on what I see on the sticker sheet, it looks like there's going to be 1 more on the TIE Fighter, possibly, and then 5 on the X-Wing. Let's see if I can get this to line up. There's a gap in this detail where the opening is, but I still want them to look like they line up in parallel so that the top detail looks good. Because this sticker represents the hatch on top of the cockpit. That is how pilots enter the TIE fighters on screen. Lego TIE fighters always open from the front, but on screen they open from the top. So those three stickers I just put on represent the hatch there. You can see there. And then the cockpit front sides have some big gaps where we're going to put the wings in, and the back. And one more look at the front because that's so classic looking right there. And I have a spammer here that needs to be banned. I just had to ban a spanner real quick, so let's keep going. Okay, so let's go ahead and get bag 2 out now. And here's the beginnings of our TIE fighter. Bag 2 is a lot of black pieces. Okay, so bags 2, 3, and 4 are all going to be for the wing assemblies. And it's telling me to build them as a 2X. So this character's name we're about to open up here is going to be Yesi Scala, and we'll talk about her in a little minute. So Yesi Scala, if I remember correctly, is the main character Sig Greebling's girlfriend, and her name is also a reference to Lego history, just like Jedi Bob. In her case, as you know, there's a very popular girl-oriented theme in Lego called Friends, which is basically a girl-targeted version of Lego City, which uses mini dolls instead of mini figures. Friends was the theme that introduced the mini dolls. But before Friends, Lego had, in the vintage years, Lego tried 3 different times to market to girls with 3 previous girl-oriented themes. There was Paradisa, Belleville, and Scala between the 80s and early 2000s. Yesi Scala is named after, of course, Scala, which was the weirdest of the 3. I don't know too much about Paradisa, Belleville, or Scala. They never really... In my studies of Lego history, those never really caught my interest. There are 2 faces for her, serious face and angry action face. We're just going to... We'll make the action face. It's a little bit easier to see against the dark flesh tone here. And she's going to get a melee weapon. But first, let's put her hair on. And if I remember correctly, she was some kind of pilot. I may be remembering that incorrectly, but her jacket does have goggles printed on it. So this is Yesi Scala. Camera's not focusing too well on it. And she gets a little weapon that I need to build up real quick here. We get this piece. And then the bar. So this weapon looks similar to the gaffy sticks used by the Tusken Raiders. Definitely looks like a stick that's pointy at both ends. So there she is holding the weapon. You can see this big, scary looking melee weapon. Let's sit her down next to the pilot to watch the build. Alright, let's go on with bag 2. And bag 2 is going to be a 2 times. So I'm assuming we have all the stuff in here we need to do bag 2 2 times. It's going to be interesting. I think this is my first time doing a 2 times using multiple bags. So yeah, because these bags are 2 times, we should be able to breeze through the rest of this. Obviously we're doing everything twice, but because everything's on the same page, we should be able to get through this pretty efficiently. And I just put those oriented the wrong way because I wasn't paying attention. So yeah, the instructions are, like I said, because of the weird layout, the instructions are a little hard to see right now. And the fact that these wings are in all black is going to make it that much more difficult to see what I'm doing against these instructions here. So yeah, these, as long as I can see what I'm doing, the rest of this build should go together pretty quickly, I believe. So it looks like this bag is the various plates that will make up the basic shape of the tie, and then the other bags are going to be the detailing and attachment bits. That's my guess here. Okay, what's going on here? Alright, it's really difficult to see what's going on here, but I'll do my best. So we're starting with, I can put them down to do this step. At this point they're big enough, I should probably put them down to work. And then I get some jumpers in here. So yeah, a multi-bag 2X. This is I think the first time I've seen that in person. I know it's not the only set that occurs in, but it's the first time I've seen that in person. Okay, now I have to repeat that step over here on this one. And everything's black on black right now, so you really can't see what I'm doing. This doesn't make for some exciting stream content right now. Sorry about that. But the set overall is a fun set that you will enjoy, so stick with me and you'll see as the rest of the TIE Fighter comes together. So yeah, this bag is actually going together pretty quickly. We shouldn't be working on the TIE Fighter too much longer. We're just under the 1 hour mark of stream, but we didn't really start building until about 12 minutes in, so we're actually making pretty good time right now in terms of actual build time. And I've just realized I've just been doing these one step at a time, but I'm actually going to... The way I usually do it is one whole page at a time for each unit. And I just realized for some reason I've only been doing this one step at a time. So I'm going to switch back to doing things I usually do and do the whole page for each unit before switching over. And there's that. And now some wedge pieces come into play here. And the wings are taking on the distinctive shape here. Okay, let's add those wedge bits to this wing now. We'll be switching to bag 3 shortly. Yeah, I think we can power through and do the whole ship before we take a break before doing the other ship. X-Wings and TIE Fighters are so iconic. They were the main starfighters in the very first Star Wars movie, and since then have been featured in everything. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty cool. You can see here now we have the basic shape of the TIE Fighter wing. This is one of the more iconically recognizable shapes in Star Wars, is the TIE Fighter wing shape. Obviously, we have to put a bunch of detail on it still, but yeah. Bag 3, we're going to continue building on these wings. It looks like these are all the small detail bits for the wings. Alright, let's see what I can start doing here. It looks like we still have a little bit more black on black, but this time there's also some nice gray to contrast. So I should be able to, the gray parts at least, I should be able to do a little bit more efficiently. So this is black and gray on black. Lego Star Wars features a lot of gray. That's why I'm trying to, overall with my fleet, I'm trying to choose some ships that are more colorful than just standard gray here. Okay, we have a 2x build on a 2x build that's black on black. I need to see how this goes here. Stupid pop-up. Alright, I think I see how this is meant to go. So I'm just going to build all 4 of these little units, and then we'll attach them to the wings. Okay, yeah. This build's a little repetitive, but I was expecting that going in. You're going to get that with designs of this nature. Alright, we need 2 more of those units. Okay. We're just about done with these little sections, and then I can attach them to the wings and move to the next page. So these attach onto the ends of the wings, it looks like, in those gaps. like this. Okay. So, some more wing bits, and I'll go ahead and make all 8 of these. Okay, we need to do a few more of those, and then we can start putting stuff on the wings again. Let's make sure I'm using the correct piece. Okay, I need 2 more. All right, let's keep going with building up the wings now. Okay, yeah, I think this is going very well so far. Okay, let's do all those attachments on this wing now. Okay, this one goes here. I press these in all the way, knowing, yeah. All right. Looks like we have to do another assembly for this page, so, but it looks like we're moving into gray parts now, so we'll build all, same deal, we'll build all 4 of these, and then we will attach them. Okay, let's get these attached. It's nice to see the black being broken up a little bit. The contrast will make it easier to see things as we go on, I think. Is that a... We're getting close to the end of bag 3, it looks like. Well, if the TIE fighter comes in at under 2 hours, then that's a good sign for the X-Wing. those steps going on this wing now. All right, I need to, what's it trying to show me here? Okay, then. I think I see what it's doing here. Yeah. So yeah, this is some more black on black. But basically we're filling in some more of the details in the shaping here. Okay, let's add those pieces to this wing now. Okay, that's done. And then we just put these bits on. Oh, that's clever how they set that up. Okay. That's some clever shaping of the angles there. Check it out. Those awkwardly angled pieces were to put these gray pieces at the correct angles. Interesting. Now I'll just put those tiles onto this one as well, and we can proceed with bag 4 and finish our TIE fighter. That's a cool build technique right there. Reminds me of some of the things they do in Speed Champions to achieve the precise shaping. All right, let's go over here and grab bag 4. And bag 4 has some flick fire missiles in it. Let me keep one missile for testing the shooters once we attach them. And the other 2 missiles I'm going to set aside because we won't be using them other than the one test we do. So this bag is going to start with a 2x build here. Because it's a 2x on a 2x, it's actually a 4x build. So I'm going to build all 4 sections and then attach them like I have been doing. I know I had said at the beginning of stream I wanted to do the X-Wing first, but this TIE fighter is proving to be just as interesting, so I'm glad we went in set order, even though the only thing that really mattered in terms of set order was getting out the brick separator. So this is a really cool build. In terms of the techniques involved, like these are some. The TIE fighter is about as basic as you can get a starfighter, and yet this still had some really interesting build techniques in it. So yeah, this ship was pretty fun. And I'm sure the X-Wing will be just as much fun once we get to it. Oh, you know what these bits are? The edges of the wings. Alright, I need one more of those. And yes, we definitely will be taking a midstream break between the two ships. Because I'm getting thirsty and I need to stretch. So the rescheduled collaboration with Brett to finally finish London, we're looking at doing on Monday. If not Monday, then it'll definitely be one day during the next week. Obviously, we're doing the Falcon tomorrow. And then I'll probably do some game streams. And then next weekend, I'll probably have another Lego set. I have a couple things in the queue for the Lego, but I do want to bring in some gaming streams. I've been talking about that for months already, so I need to start getting that going. Where's the piece I'm looking for? Okay, there's a piece I can't find in my parts pile. Did it get left behind in the bag? Nope. So it's probably under something. Not many places for pieces to hide under. I'm not sure if it's an important bit though, or how crucial that bit is. So I'm going to go ahead and start attaching these, and if the piece comes up later, oh, it is a critical part. So if the piece comes up later, I will definitely attach it in. It's the part that makes the linkages, so once it turns up, I will add it to the wing. I'm sure it's under something. Okay, so that's what the wing looks like with those edge pieces on it. We're getting there to we're getting closer to a completed tie wing now. Okay, let's get all those pieces onto this wing now. And I'll keep looking for that missing piece so that I can secure the edge bit on this wing. Did it go on the floor maybe? It is what I would call a critical piece. Is this an assembly? Yes. So I need to build this 2 times as well. Okay. Oh, the piece should reveal itself in a hurry if we're going to be using this many pieces of the parts pile here. These are the assemblies which are going to contain the flick fire bricks. The piece that's missing, it's an important piece for stability, but not it's not actually too noticeable if it's not there. I'll just have to be careful with that wing so that I don't keep bumping that wing out of shape if that piece doesn't turn up. But yeah, we're going to be moving through this parts pile pretty quickly. And then an assembly for the assembly here. So I'm going to build both of these, and then I'm going to attach them, and then I'm going to attach them to the other bits. Actually, I can attach these without too much extra difficulty. Since this is already the sub-assembly we're working on. Alright, I gotta do one more of those. If the piece doesn't turn up, I may do a little looking for it during the break as well. Oof. Interesting. Okay. I found the piece. When we go to put these on the wings, I'll go ahead and attach it. I was correct. It was hiding under something. All right, I have to do this page's worth of instructions over here on this assembly now. So these are the assemblies that are going to attach the TIE fighter wings to the cockpit. They also contain the ship's weapons. And bag 4 is going very quickly. We'll have the TIE fighter done. It's an hour and a half. We'll probably have this done within a couple more minutes. Something's messed up on this one, but it's an easy fix. All right, we got there. Oh, I still have big plates here. Oh yeah, all right there. So they're coming up in that step of the instructions. Let's get these on to this one. Okay. Let's go ahead and fix the edge here and secure the other section. There we go. And now I can flip this over and put this in. Yeah, it's supposed to orient this way. So we're gonna put that into the little gap down there. And we're gonna come over to this wing. we're gonna attach this assembly into the little gap down there, and the attachment points are on. And these come in here. And secure, so these plates secure in the wing assemblies like this on the back. Okay, I'm gonna come here and add those two little plates to secure the attachment assembly. Oh, nice little printed part here. And here's a completed tie wing. You can see the nice little printed part in the center of the wing there. And if you flip this onto the back, you can see the attachment assembly. And before I put these on the ship, I'm going to go ahead and test the missile pods. And I just need to get this piece lined up on here. So yeah, for the wing facing this way, okay, and if the wing ends up facing this way, okay, and then come back and test both ends, because the wings are identical, so it needs to be fired from either direction. All right, works that way. Yep, our missile pods work as intended, so I'll take the little missile, set it aside. We're not going to see it again this stream. Okay, so the wings pin into the cockpit. You can see the gap on the side of the cockpit there. The wing slides into the gap. And on the bottom of the wing, on the bottom, there's a place to put these pins. And the pin has a spacer on it. So you slide the pin into the bottom here, and that locks the wing into place. And then we will attach the wing assembly for the other side here. And then I will come to the bottom here and put in my little pin. And that's a spare bit. All right, so this is showing how to use the missiles. We already tested that. And this shows you how to set the pilot inside. Here's an advertisement for the rest of the first wave of Rebuild the Galaxy. You don't see the Force Burner Snowspeeder because these are the ones that came out last year, and the Snowspeeder came out this year. But you can see the Dark Falcon. We're building that tomorrow. And you can see Jedi Bob's Starfighter, which we did on the last stream. And then you can see also the set we're doing today with the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter. And with that, we have finished our TIE Fighter. It's very swooshable. Feels nice in the hand. The wings feel nice and secure. They're not going anywhere. very swooshable. Okay. Before I turn the instructions off, let me go ahead and get the X-Wing's instructions lined up the way I want for stream. Let's make the X, because the X-Wing is a standard layout, I can make it a little bit smaller. There we go. And I will turn off the instructions so you can get a good view of the TIE fighter while we're on our quick break. We finished at, if you count the talking time, we finished that in an hour and a half. Either the TIE fighter has significantly less pieces than the X-Wing total, or we breezed through that more efficiently than I usually do. Because if each starfighter truly represented half the set, I should be closer to the 2.5 hour mark by now, knowing the piece counts and my averages with build speed. But very swooshable TIE fighter here. Okay, I won't do that sound effect. But yeah. And it looks nice too. Look at that. They got the detail and shaping of the wing. It's probably not quite as advanced as a non-mashable TIE fighter would be in terms of build technique. They had to keep it simple enough to make the wings interchangeable, but it looks pretty good. Even if the cockpit window is fake, it looks pretty good. And of course you can open it up, put the pilot inside, and you have the flick fire missiles here to the side of the wings there. All right, let's park the X-Wing. We're going to take a quick break, and then I'll be back to build. Well, did I just say let's park the? I meant let's park the TIE fighter. I meant to say when I come back from break, we'll do the X-Wing. All right, I'll be back in a few moments. Okay, I'm back. Quick audio test. Okay, I'm back. All right, we're good to go. So, let's take the TIE Fighter off stage. Yeah, very swooshable. One of the more swooshable. Feels balanced in the hand, sturdy, got some nice weight. Yeah, I like the hand feel of this one. So, it's going to ask for bag 5 first, of course. We still have stickers here. Let's bring the instructions up for the X-Wing now. It looks like this is one of those classic Rebel X-Wings. Original Trilogy era. The white ones with the red markings. This might represent Red Squadron, the X-Wing group that was involved in the Death Star run. So bag 5, we're going to start with our astromech droid. And I do quite like the Lego version of the astromech droids. And this one's got a really cool color scheme. Some fans call this the McDonald's droid. But actually, its call sign, according to the box, is L3GO for Lego. And it's in the classic Lego colors. This will be the 4, 5. This will be the 6th R series astromech droid in my Lego collection, and I still don't have the OG R2D2. But my immediate wish list does contain 2 more R-type astromech droids, so we'll see how efficiently I can get them. The only problem with Lego astromech droids is that none of them, including R2D2, none of them have any back printing. But that's okay, because mostly you're only just displaying them from the front anyway. I'm trying to figure out which way is supposed to represent forward here. I think this way. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter which way you orient the dome because actual astromech droids spin their heads, and you can't do that on Lego, but if you put it the wrong way, it has the same effect. So this is L3GO, my 7th, did I say 7th? Quick count it in my head again. No, my 6th Lego R Series astromech. But I should be getting 3 more in the next couple months. Okay, it's time to begin the X-Wing. Now the X-Wing has a lot more pages because the wings of the X-Wing are not identical but in mirror, meaning they have to be built separately. The total amount of time should be comparable though, considering that when I was building them at the same time, I still had to do each step one at a time twice. So we're probably looking at a comparable amount of time for this one. Same deal as before. We're going to try and power through the whole ship in one shot here. This will be my first, even though this is technically the second X-Wing in my Lego collection, this is the first Rebel era X-Wing in my Lego collection, since my other X-Wing is Resistance era. And it's also a juniorized set, so it's only about half the scale of a regular Lego X-Wing. So this will be my first full-size Lego X-Wing. I just had a clumsy moment, but I was able to prevent it from yeeting onto the floor. That would have been a disaster, because it probably would have been broken apart a little bit. Okay, yeah. Alright, yeah, this is going to be the seating area. I can tell because it has the split panel, which is where you put minifigure legs. So this is where the pilot's going to sit. And there's the pink brick. Lego Star Wars designers like to hide a pink brick inside the build, where it's going to be covered over and nobody's going to see it at the end. Okay, what's going on here? So the only part of the ship that's recognizable so far is right there where the pilot's going to sit. But the rest of the details are going to be built up around that, and we'll have a recognizable section of a ship pretty soon. Nope. Try again. Let's make sure we're getting the correct detailing piece going there. Still wrong. There we go. Find the other one of those for the other side. Yep. Okay, that's only a one-time unit. We're fine. I had to be sure. This is the only... I shouldn't say that. I should wait and see, because actually I'm not 100% sure, so let's just wait and see. So right now we're basically building up the core of the ship. The core is crucial for getting the shaping around and detailing around the rest of the outside of the ship correct. So it's cool to see how the structure comes together to facilitate the completed look, even in the parts that are not recognizable yet. Okay. So I'm guessing the rest of this bag is going to be, the rest of the internal structure of bag 2 is going to be the exterior detailing, and then the other 2 bags are going to be the wings. That's my guess. We have this printed console, which is going to go here. And let me just make sure the seating area, you can actually fit someone in there. Yeah, it'll work. Okay, that goes there. I do see the beginnings of some shaping going on as well. I don't know if that sticker lines up with anything, so I'm not going to apply the sticker just yet. But I'll go ahead and put the piece on so we can continue with the build. Okay. I do like these themed three-part Lego series. Hmm. I'll do one for Jurassic next month, I think. There's some dinosaur figures I want to add to my Lego collection. I'm not gonna get the whole backlog of Lego Jurassic. There's too many big sets, but I'll get enough to fill a three-part stream, and then I'll add a bunch more. I'll be adding 4 more full-size Lego figures and a couple other dinosaurs besides them as well. We'll see how I want to do that at the next month. I do have one set in hand for the Jurassic expansion, but there's like 5 total sets I want to be part of that, so we gotta wait till I can get the others. I like the way the shape is coming together, even if it's not quite recognizable yet. The shape is beginning to be a little bit recognizable, but definitely still looks like mostly a lot of internal stuff going on here. I'm guessing the next bag will fill in some of the detailing for the side sections here. Okay, so I see what's going on here. I'll show off the recognizable features of the core in a few moments once I finish the bag, because there are some bits of the X-Wing I'm starting to recognize now. Just a few pieces left for uh, the first bag of the ship. Bag 5 of the set. And actually, I do like battle in a box sets like this, where you get one good guy thing and one bad guy thing. Lego Star Wars doesn't do that very often, but it does it occasionally. Alright. Did I miss a step somewhere? I did. Okay. Let's take care of that real quick. That goes there, that goes there. Then these go on. Alright, now we resolve that issue. So on bag 6, before we get into bag 6, so here's the core structure of the X-Wing. The basic shaping is there. Obviously, we still have a lot of studs on the side we have to fill in detailing for. The little piloting cockpit, it's obvious there. And here, on the end here, these are the gaps that the X-Wings are going to be inserted into, that are going to be, this is where you'll be able to insert the wings and swap them out. I recognize a bit of the structure from the where the TIE Fighter did the same thing. So let's go ahead and get bag 6 open, and we will continue building our X-Wing. Yeah. We've been building for, including talking and break time, we've been building for about 2 hours now. So yeah, we may actually come in under, I estimated I would need about 4 hours for the stream tonight. We may or may not come in under that. We'll see how the rest of the X-Wing goes. Here's a nice printed canopy piece. I'll set that aside till we need it. And this bag will start with our Rebel pilot. He gets 2 face options, but it's got the printed pilot goggles on the face. So smiling or serious? Well, he's piloting a fighter, so we'll give him the serious face. And because he has the printed goggles, he needs his helmet to complete his look. So let's put that on. There's a nice little Rebel symbol on the side of his helmet. I think the helmet printing is actually unique to this guy, because it's got each pilot in Star Wars, Rebel pilots get to customize their helmets, and I think this one is exclusive to the set, this helmet print. But I think the rest of the pilot is using standard prints, because the helmet's color scheme matches the droid. And he's supposed to get a blaster according to the picture. So let me see if there's one in the parts pile here. There it is. Okay, here's our Rebel pilot. You can see the printed goggles on his face. You can see the prints on the side of his helmet there. And he can sit over here with the other characters. We're going to start bag 6 with an assembly now, so let's set this out a little bit out of the way and begin. So yeah, based on what's in front of me, none of this looks like it's going to be wing details. So yeah, this is going to be the rest of the body, I think. Let's make sure we're picking up correct pieces here. Hold on a second. I need to be able to see what I'm doing. And my glass is fogged up. There's a big bit of fog on that one somehow. I should be okay for a while. Let's keep going. Okay, so here's the X-Wing's iconic nose cap, and that's going to slide onto the front like that. And okay. Okay, these go here. Okay, these are clips, but it looks like they're too far back to be the canopy clips. So I'm not sure what these clips are going to be used for. I want to make sure I'm using the correct pieces here. It says to use clips, so yeah. There's the other one. So yeah, I'm not sure what that's going to be, because it looks like it's too far back for the canopy. At least that one didn't go to the floor. Okay, that goes there. And this one goes here. And then this goes here. So yeah, definitely we're doing some detailing and shaping work now that the structure is together. Hold on, let me check something real quick. It looks like Brett is streaming tonight, so he's a friend of the channel, so that's where we're going to go when we finish. If he's still on, but he tends to run late on Saturdays, so we should be okay. It has us doing little greebly bits on the inside here. I'm not sure if there's any significance to that, but I guess we'll, unless something else is going to attach up here that I don't know about yet. No, I want to make sure I'm using the correct piece, and that the pieces are similar but distinctly different colors there. This is definitely a lot longer than I was anticipating. This is a decently sized X-Wing. It's probably double the length of my Junior's X-Wing. That X-Wing represents a Resistance era X-Wing, and there actually is a distinct difference in the design. If you know your Star Wars, you'll know what that is. I can't really explain it without having a Resistance X-Wing in front of me to show you the comparison. But the little engine section on the wings was redesigned. There's a distinct difference between the Rebel era and the Resistance era X-Wings. My Resistance era X-Wing, like I said before, is a juniorized version. So it's only about half the size. Okay, I see. So right here, this little gap here, I think is going to be the droid pit. That's where the droid is going to sit. So here's where we attach the canopy. It's a nice little printed canopy piece. So that just connects on like that and closes over the ship like this. And seeing how that connects, I can now put on that sticker from before. So now that I see that sticker doesn't actually line up with anything except the canopy. So all I have to do is make sure I center it. But then we're good to go. So there's that detailing sticker right there. Yeah, I centered that pretty well first try. even though it was in an awkward position for my fingers. Okay, let's keep going. So the flick fire missiles on the TIE fighter were on the attachment pods. So I'm guessing if the weapons are also on the, if the weapons for this ship are on the wings, that means that both weapons will swap when we swap the wings, and so both ships will end up with weapons. I wasn't sure from the picture, but after having seen how where the placement of the missile bricks on the TIE fighter, I can comfortably say that both ships in mashup mode are going to have the are going to have weapons. Okay, I need to see which way. Okay. It's a circle sticker, which means centering and place and alignment are both crucial. Give me a moment to make sure I get the sticker as good as possible. It's as good as it's going to be. There's the detail sticker we're about to put on the back of the X-Wing. That goes there. And then this goes here. And this goes here. So yeah, now we're continuing to fill in some of the shaping here. Okay, I think that hinge is where we're going to attach a gear later. Landing gear. I'm not 100% sure, but the ship does have a non-flat bottom, so it's very possible that there's going to be a landing gear there. Right now we're doing a lot of detailing on the back of the X-Wing, a part that you won't even be able to see very well once it's on display. I know I'm a little bit off camera right now. I was trying to sit for, I had those, oh, that's interesting. So the back of the ship, for part of its shaping, is going to use this piece, which is the mech chest piece that all the current small mechs use. Here it's being used as detail for, or I mean shaping, for the back of the our X-Wing here. So yeah. So these bits we're putting together now, 4 times, are to fill in some of the side shaping around the wing attachment gaps. And they actually do fill in the walls of the astromech port. Okay, I need to do one more of those. So now with those on, you can see the only gap in the side here is where the wing is going to go. And you can see the droid port is now walled up and operational. So when it's time to fly the X-Wing, you take your little droid figure, and you can use any R-type astromech you have, and you just sit him in there like that. But we're not ready to fly the ship, so he can come back and sit with his friends. And now we're going to start putting in the sides of the ship here, it looks like. Interesting. So what we're doing now is we're creating the shaping for the side of the ship. And then this goes onto all these side studs here. But the side studs aren't all at the same level. Did I miss something? Okay. I need to open things up a little bit here because something's not right here. That sticks out. Okay. Oh, I see how it goes. All right. What it's doing is it actually attaches to that hinge piece, which allows it to get that very subtle angle. It's not perfectly straight, but by... Okay, you can see here what the ship is doing here. It's got that little bit. It's got that very subtle angle sloping it in. It's like you can't even notice when I rock it like that. That's how close the angle is. That's what it's doing. Pretty clever how they did that. Alright. Let's turn it around and set up those details for the other side as well now. And then the main body of the X-Wing will be done. And all we'll have to do is build the two wing units. I'm assuming bag 7 is going to be the wing for one side, and then bag 8 is going to be the wing for the other side. Okay, so this attaches there. It angles in very slightly like that. And the sides of the X-Wing are done. And I was right, this is going to be, this little hinge bit here is going to hold a landing gear. Right now, I want to fold it down though because its length is designed for when the X-Wings are attached. The X-Wings are not built yet, so I just folded it in. You can't fold this one all the way flat though, I don't think. Yeah, no, it's not going to work, so. Since I can't fold it all the way flat, I'll get the most stability if I put it like that. And since we're going to do wing assemblies, I'm actually going to move it over to the side for now. Bag 7. We're about halfway through the instruction book. So it looks like these wing assemblies are going to have some substance. Yeah, I can tell by the pieces here, this is going to be a wing assembly. And each wing assembly is going to have two wings. This is the X-wing, which means they open up for combat mode. It'd be interesting to see how they do that, given that the wings also have to be removable. I'm assuming the opening feature is going to be a manual uh, and not automated like it is on some of the X-wings. I put that piece facing the wrong way. That's how it needs to go. The thing is, once we build this assembly, might look like much with this huge parts pile in front of us, but once we build it, we'll know what progression to expect when we go to build the second wing. Even though it's mirrored, which means I can't do a 2x, we'll know what's coming when we get to that second wing. So the second wing should run a little bit faster than this first wing does. These big, huge wedge pieces are getting in my way of looking through the parts pile. These big engine pieces are going to spin around on me as well. Where was I? Okay, I put those on, so now we're looking for that piece. It's a little 2x1 in white. There it is. And I see this, there's a flick fire brick on this wing as well. Since we have it, since the missiles are in the other bag, I will go ahead and pull one of the missiles we set aside from before when it comes time to test it. Now the X-Wings, these, unlike the TIE Fighter wings, which were identical regardless of orientation, these can only face one way. So we only have to test the missile pod from one side. Okay, why are we attaching to the ship already? This thing's not done yet. Unless it's going to have us put the wings on and then... Okay, so it looks like it's going to want us to attach the wing bits as we to the ship as we put them together instead of building the whole wing units separately. I'm guessing is what's going on here. We'll see how the build plays out, of course. So it looks like we're building up the whole wing section and then it's going to be separatable. I'm guessing is what's going to happen here. one more of those gray brackets. There it is. Give me a moment, I have a pop-up. Okay, so yeah, these are the pins that secure the wing assemblies, just like we saw on the TIE Fighter. So, yeah, it looks like we are building up the wings attached to the main unit. And then we'll swap them at the end, is how it has us doing this. Let's build the other little pin here. And now it looks like we're building the first wing, so... Oh, that's... I didn't show you before. That's the back detailing that we put on before. And I don't know if I did show off the sides because of the... Alright. We'll just set this over here. And we're going to keep going with it. But my prediction was correct. I can see the instructions much easier with this book. This book, of course, being in the standard orientation. Okay, these two stickers are gonna go next to each other, so I need to... Yeah, there's a bit that lines up on these two stickers. Only two stickers left. So because we're putting sticker detailing, this tells me that this will be the upper wing. But those are the two stickers. You can see how they line up to make a little bit of detailing there. Okay, yeah. I temporarily ran out of things to talk about. That's why I stopped talking. But yeah, this is coming together nicely and efficiently. I don't know if we're building both uppers and then both lowers, or both of the wings on one side and then both of the wings on the other side. I'm just not quite 100% sure yet. Okay. Um, Interesting. So yeah, the wing is coming together recognizably and nicely. All right, so there's going to be this wing's cannon, and it actually uses the lightsaber hilt piece for the cannon barrel. Interesting. So this is actually the underside. No, no, this is the upper side wing. Okay, how is the picture going? So it's facing this way, and it's these. So it has it going in these holes. So yeah, since I'm looking at the bottom of the ship, that's the upper wing, and that's how it hinges up. So it has one click to open, but it is a manual open. Okay, so so this is how they do the wing opening effect. It's a one-click manual hinge like that. And once we add the other four wings, it will then the whole effect will be apparent. But without the lower wing in place, the ship no longer sits up on its own straight. So we'll move the other pilot over so that nobody gets hit by the X-wing. It looks like we have one more wing we'll be building for this bag, and then the last two wings will be on the final bag. This is a good looking X-wing. I can say that even with most of the wings missing, because I can see how having put one wing on, I can see how the rest of the wings are going to go, and I'm really enjoying the way this looks. It was a good looking TIE fighter too. Okay, yeah, this wing is definitely doing some detailing things differently. Oh, I skipped a couple pieces. Let's solve that before it becomes an issue. Now let's go on. So yeah, I think this is going to be the bottom wing for that side. Because I don't remember the other wing doing this. Actually, based on the orient, it could be the bottom or the top wing of the others. We'll just have to see as we put the rest of the pieces on. I'm assuming it's the bottom though, because we haven't used the flick fire missile piece yet. And it doesn't look like this one is putting the stickers on those slopes. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the bottom wing for the side we already started. Structurally, it's very similar, but there are some. It looks like there are a few subtle differences going on. Once this swing is done, we'll go into our final bag of the evening. We're at the 3-hour mark of stream so far. this goes here. The one little design flaw I'm noticing is that the engines don't quite line up perfectly, but that's okay. From most angles, it's not noticeable. Let me look at the picture real quick. Yeah. I am doing this correctly. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, so here's where we attach the missile brick. So it's an underside wing. So that's the orientation we're in. Let me test that real quick. And since the missile bricks are on the wing assemblies for both ships, it means both ships in mashup mode are going to have weapons. So that's a good thing. Let's go. So these go on to here, it looks like. And then we have our little weapon assembly. And then this will connect in like this to the underside of the wing like this. So we have closed wing, and you can click each wing one time for the open wing configuration. So let's close it up. And that doesn't solve the issue of landing with gear, does it? No, because the ship's not balanced. And the gear is also way too tall. But if we open the wings, then does the ship balance with the gear? No, because we still don't have balance on the other side. So the gear is almost just there as a technicality, because when the wings are folded, yeah, the gear just creates misalignment at the bottom. But yeah, we have one side of the wings complete. And bag 8 will give us our final character of tonight. We're going to our final bag of the evening. And we have some more flick fires in red this time. Let's set this over here, out of the way. So this character is Sig Greebling. We actually got his Part 2 appearance when we did the Force Burner Snowspeeder on the last stream. Here is his Part 1 appearance. Instead of a lightsaber, he has a melee weapon reminiscent of a Tusken gaffy stick. But it's a different model than the melee weapon reminiscent of a Tusken gaffy stick that Yesi uses over here. This is a different model weapon. So let's start this bag by putting them together. First, let's take our missiles. We'll set 2 off. We'll set 2 aside, and then we'll keep 1 over here inaccessible for when we need to test the missile brick. You can see how the X-Wing is kind of big enough now to be kind of in the way of what we're doing. But not too much in the way. Let's take these 2 big plates and set them aside. Alright, we need to find his pants piece. There it is. So yeah, in the other set, he had a lightsaber. Here, he just has a melee weapon. Let's see. Slight confident smile or scared face. Let's give him his confident smile this time. Okay, we need to find his hairpiece. There. So here is Sig Greebling in his Part 1 appearance. He's the main character. There's a little trans-like blue plate here, which I'm assuming is supposed to represent the magical kyber crystal, with which he accidentally reconfigured the galaxy in that ancient Jedi temple that Jedi Bob was guarding. Since the whole galaxy got reconfigured, Jedi Bob didn't do a very good job, did he? Well, we're not going to worry about that, because without that little mishap, there would not have been a story. So, and there wouldn't be all the cool remix stuff that the series has. So yeah, it may have been a bad mishap totally uh, that totally reversed the galaxy as we know it. But hey, at least it led to some cool story moments. So he has his weapon, and he has his magical power crystal, and there he is with his accessories. So now we'll use that as we'll use the weapon as a kind of an extra support there. And so with all our characters lined up, we can move on and finish our X-Wing. We have 2 wings left to go. And yeah, these next 2 wings are going to be more of the same of the last 2 wings. But you know going into an X-Wing build that you're going to hit this repetitive part. A lot of Star Wars ships have a little bit of a repetitive part going on. But since we know what to expect from the build, we'll be able to breeze through it at this point. And by the time we attach the first of these 2 wings, or the 3rd wing, overall, by the time we attach this, the parts pile will have been reduced enough that it won't be too much in the way. For sure, we're going to come in under the 4-hour mark, which is what I estimated. Because we're only at 3 1/4, and we know what to expect from the wing architecture. So here's the 2 stickers I have to line up. So let me do that real quick. Now the X-Wing, we got to do 2 swoosh tests. Closed wing and open wing. Alright, those are the stickers right there. It's not quite as perfect as on the other side, but not terrible. Here's the empty sticker sheet. We no longer need that. So let's keep going. goes there. Yeah. Okay, sorry I ran out of stuff to talk about again. Well, that's okay. We're getting close to the end of stream anyway. We still got a little bit more to go, but what fell off? Oh, this bit. No biggie. It's back on. So yeah, this wing is going together pretty quickly, as I predicted it would. Since we knew what was coming with this one, having done it twice already. The hardest part at this point, since we know what's coming each step of the build, the hardest part is just finding the parts in the parts pile. And even then, as the parts pile reduces, it becomes easier to find the parts. So yeah, most likely we'll be raiding out to Brett. Unless there's like one specific musician who's there who hasn't been on in a while, but who is potentially starting a comeback. If they're on, then I might do them. But if that one music streamer isn't on, and then we're gonna go to Brett's stream if he's still on, because he's a friend of the channel. This wing is already almost done. We've only been doing this wing for a few minutes. Okay. So now we just gotta attach this in like this. And with the wing suspended over my parts pile, I can give myself a little more clearance by flipping it up one click and turning the X-wing and moving it a little bit closer to our characters. Let's make these bits accessible to me. I have the missile here, ready for testing when the time comes in a few minutes. Let's go ahead and start building this last wing. We're on the last subassembly of the evening, but even so, once we finish this, we still have to do the mashup part. So we've still got a few more minutes together. All right. So yeah, I think stream is gonna finish somewhat. We're not gonna finish by the 3.5 hour mark. We still have to do the mashup, but by 3:40, yeah, well under the 4 hour prediction I had going into the stream, which is good. It means we had some efficiency with the build tonight. It's hard to say which I think is a better representation of the source material, the X-Wing or the TIE Fighter. Both of these are beautiful representations. I know that the mainline X-Wings, not from Rebuild the Galaxy, the ones without the ones without the swappable wings, those I think have a Technic mechanism inside the back part of the ship to open the wings with one movement. Obviously, you can't do that if the wings have to be detached from the main unit for the play feature, which I think is a really cool play feature. I think it's really cool that Rebuild the Galaxy did the mixed up starfighters, because like I said, back in Legends continuity, that was actually a thing that they did in a couple of the stories. In addition to the standard mixed up X-Wing and TIE Fighter, there were also variants involving parts of Y-Wings, B-Wings, some of the TIE variants, including the Interceptor and the Bomber, um, and various other ships that are not as well known that were part of Legends. But a lot of ships did get a lot of ship a lot of different ships, their parts were available for the for having these mixed up ships made of them. I don't know too much on the subject. I just think it's really cool that actual Lego Star Wars finally did something like that. Because they don't really go outside the movies and the TV, but they made this really cool parody cartoon, and it became fair game. So here we are with the most unique X-Wing and TIE Fighter set that Lego Star Wars has ever done physically. And it's pretty cool. Sorry, I'm just trying to focus on. You can see we're already up to putting on the engine and gun assemblies here. So yeah, we've definitely sped through the two wings in this bag. But like I said, having done this twice already, by the time we opened the bag, we knew how everything was going to go. There were no surprises with this part of the build, so here we are. Let's see here. So this is facing this way. And then this attaches on like this. And here's the missile brick. And let's see. The wing is going to be facing this way. So we're going to take our little test missile. Yeah, I'd say it's working properly. So let's sit this over here with the ammo pile. We're not going to need that again tonight. And let's go ahead and finish this up. So yeah, we're just about at the 3.5 hour mark of stream now, and I still have the last couple bits of this wing to put together, so probably 3:40, 3:45 by the time we play with the mashup. Okay, let's put the final cannon together. It would help if I was doing things in the correct orientation, of course. Excuse me a moment. Sorry about that. My brother just got back from work. I was trying to be done before he came in, but we're so close. So let's just finish it up at this point. Oh, I still have a few pieces left over. So we still have a little bit of detailing to put in, I guess. So we'll snap that into place. We'll close the wing. If I put the landing gear all the way up, that allows it to mount in kind of this angled approach. The wings do rest flat nicely. Okay, here's how we get this to go straight. There's actually two more bits of landing gear that we need to build. I didn't realize that there was more. Don't know why it didn't have us build all three of these. Oh, because they're going on the wing assembly. That's why it didn't have us do these landing gears when we did the first one. It makes sense now. So once we put these landing gears on, the uh, the X-wing will sit straight. Let's just build both of them, and then I'll flip the ship over and attach them, and then we can check out the mashup mode. So yeah, these two gears are going to go on the wing assemblies. Um, let's see here. Let's flip this over. I was wondering what those hinge bits were for. Now I know. So obviously we're going to have to do the swoosh test before we do the mashup, since we gave the TIE Fighter a fair swoosh test. Okay, and those gears stand it up nicely. And so this shows how all the gears fold in for flight mode, and how the wings open up, and how to use the missiles. And this just shows you how to swap the wings, where we pull the pins out, pull the wings out, swap the wings, and put the pins back in. But before we do all that, we've got to take a few minutes and admire the X-Wing. We gave the TIE Fighter a fair bit of show off, so let's do the same with the X-Wing before we go mashup mode. So I just turned the instructions off so you can get a quick look at the ship as it is. Alright, so let's get all the spare bits out of here. Oh man, those aren't spare bits, which means I forgot a step somewhere. And we no longer need our separator, so I'll set that aside. And let me just flip this over to the bottom real quick so I can see what it is that I just closed my instructions. Hold on. Uh, okay, I see where I forgot to put those bits on. It's not a big deal. Let me just slip my hand into the landing gears here. And we'll put those two little pieces on. And then our X-Wing will be ready for prime time. So the X-Wing balances nicely on its landing gear, which fold up neatly into the bottom of the ship like this. And this one folds up neatly into the front of the ship like this. And now you kind of have this kind of angled sitting on the ground approach. But that's not how I want it. So the swoosh test with it closed. Well, this one's got some satisfying feel to it. It swooshes nicely with the wings in the closed position. And now let's get a good look at the ship here. Very classically designed X-Wing. I like this one. Now let's click the wings open to attack mode. And yeah, very classic look there with the wings open from the back. And then so the back and then the front here. Very side look. Yeah, that's a very classic look. Swoosh test with open wings. It works just as nicely. And because it's not an actual configuration of the ship, I'm not going to do putting out the landing gear with the wings open because that's just silly. So now let's close up the wings and pull them off and bring our TIE fighter back and pull those wings off. One last look at our X-wing as it is. We come to the bottom, we'll pull out our pins, and then we'll pull out our wing assemblies, which come right out like that. And then we'll bring our TIE fighter back. And the TIE fighter, of course, just has the one configuration. Swooshing again. This one also has nice feel. We'll flip that one over. We'll pull out the pins. And with that, we're able to pull the wing assemblies out. And now, we're going to take our TIE fighter wings and we're going to stick them onto the X-wing body. And I should pin each wing as I do it so I don't accidentally drop any bits. And we'll take this wing and we'll slide it into this. So yeah, both ships are going to end up with a flick fire missile brick. Or I should say a pair of flick fire missile bricks. So we got our... Okay. And yeah, that landing gear is going to be useless because the TIE wings are too tall, but they hold it up nicely. They give it a little bit of nice height above the ground. We'll take a closer look at these two ships in a minute. Now let's take our X-wings and put them onto the TIE fighter cockpit. Okay, let's get that back on. Okay, so we've got two really weird and cool and mixed up starfighters now. So let's give each its due. Starting with the TIE wings on the X-fighter body. So the wings become the landing gear because they're much too tall for the X-wings onboard landing gear. Obviously, there's no wing reconfiguration to do here. Swoosh test. It feels a little bit unbalanced and bulky in the hand, but not too terrible. Very weird looking ship, but also has a cool factor. No, it's a little weirder than I thought it was going to look. But that's what these mixed up starfighters are meant to be. They're meant to be cool and weird. And it's cool that they brought this little bit of Legends to life. And I'm definitely, if I display these two, I'm definitely going to display them in mashup mode because there's so many other X-Wing and TIE Fighter models out there that can only be done in standard X-Wing and TIE Fighter configurations. So the mashup ships, when displayed, are going to be displayed as the mashups. This is a really interesting one. Let me set that aside real quick, and we'll take a look at the TIE cockpit with the X-Wings. I'm not sure which one I feel is weirder. This one definitely has kind of a bizarre look to it. So yeah, this one feels much more lightweight. Swoosh is easier in the hand. Has a slightly weirder look to it than the other one does. Not as bulky. Let's open up the wings for flight mode, for battle mode. So with the wings open, wow, that really gives this an eerie, bizarre look. That's interesting. Again, weirder than I thought it was going to look from the box art, but cool. I don't know which one I think is weirder or cooler, but both the as for we gotta check out its landing mode. So it just rests on the ground. Do the landing gears mean anything for this ship? So let's put the landing gears out and see if they actually work. Nope, not really. The ship's too back heavy. It doesn't work with the landing gear. So yeah, we'll just fold the landing gear back down, and this ship rests on the bottom of its cockpit, which is flat like that. So, wow. This was a nice bizarro pair of starfighters. Brett is still streaming. It looks like he has no viewers right now, which means his normal chat people aren't there. So let's go see him. And I was right. It's 3 3/4 now. So let me just make sure he's not in his break. Because if he's in his break, I can stall and talk for a few more minutes. I can't really get both of these on screen because their wingspans are too big. Let's see, what if we'll put this one behind the characters like this, and we'll put this one behind that one like this. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So again, the characters L3GO and his Rebel pilot, Yesi Scala, TIE pilot, and Sig Greebling. Now, when I actually put the pilots into the ships, I'm going to match up the pilots to the cockpits. So, the body of the ship is going to determine what pilot that ship gets. So this one's going to get the TIE pilot, and this one's going to get the X-Wing pilot. Even though the wings are arguably the most prominent feature on these mashups and most noticeable. Let's go see, he's not in his ad right now, so let's raid out to Brett. Let me see if I can't get to my keyboard real quick here. Okay, the raid is set up. We're going to go raid Brett. Have a good night. I will see you tomorrow, because tomorrow we have the biggest of the 4 Rebuild the Galaxy sets. Tomorrow we're doing the Dark Falcon, which is an evil version of the Millennium Falcon. And it's a really cool looking ship in a really heavy box. And we're going to have a lot of fun with it tomorrow. So have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow. Let's go. And let's go watch Brett play his game for a while. May the force be with you. And I guess that's it for tonight. This was a weird but cool one. That's it for tonight. This was a weird but cool one. This was a weird but cool one.
Yeah, how do you know all that?
Well, it's an educated guess. A theory based on
Hey, it's Evie. What's up, what's up?
The Cardless are so...
My raid alarm didn't go off.
art and architecture.